All right, so the first thing I want to start with, and I'm so glad you guys are here. What we did was I'm just so thankful for Ms. Pierce because she allowed me to do this along with her meeting as well because we storm. We didn't have time to have 2 meetings this week. But I wanted to talk a little bit about data. I was thinking about, the data that I pulled. Mr. Green gave me some data. Mr. McGahey gave me some data, and I also did some research and found some data. Ms. Wiggins, she explained today about the work keys. My work keys data will be all from your work keys data. So what I wanted to do today was to talk about the data. Where do we go from here? That's the big idea. A lot of things that I wanted to do today because of short time, but I'm so glad that we had the discussions that we just had because one of the big things was the big idea. And y'all came up with a lot of good ideas about what we can do to kind of implement some things for our students. So I want to talk about the data, and on the sign-in sheet, Ms. McGahey, you'll see your name up there. You always put that. We're going to use you while you're here, okay? Is that all right? So the first thing is we're looking at the EOC. We're looking at the EOC. We're looking at the trend. It's a little bit different from the one that you gave me, but Ms. McGahey kind of explained to me, and also Ms. Pierce explained to me, and kind of like broke down what it really means. So when I shared this, I actually shared this with the students as well. Looking at from 2012 to now, there are some things that are happening, some things that are reoccurring, and one of my concerns was, why are we going back and forth? What's the problem? Why do we kind of go up, we grow a little bit, and then we go right back down? So what is the problem? That's some of the things that we can base on top of today. So how can we fix that? It reminds me of something. This data reminds me of something. The grade that we have reminds me of something. I love my yard. I'm always out in my yard doing something. Right, Ms. Lynch? So I'm always out in my yard doing something, and there's a dog that always comes in my yard, and he leaves gifts. But I never know that dog's in the yard until I step in one of his gifts. So one of the things that I think the data kind of reveals to us that we're stepping in something. And the only way for us to really, really get to the nitty-gritty is to clean it up. You're not going to get rid of it until you clean it up. So my thing, how can we clean it up? Where do we start? Where do we go from here? What are our next steps in trying to identify the problem and then actually helping our students to rise above? In the classroom, we know what's going on. Ms. B was talking about the students, and if it's not going to count, we're not going to put anything. We're not going to do anything. We got to make them understand everything counts. We're doing it for you. Everything counts. We want to change this grade. We want to change these scores. We want to change what we're looking at right now. So that's one of the things that we're looking at. We're looking at the EOC. We're looking at math and English. That's where me and Mr. Green really started off with asking what was the thing that needed help. And he said there is a gap. The students that are coming in from other schools are coming in without those foundational skills. Students are coming in from the middle school missing some things, and then guess what? We're in the classroom trying to teach, and they don't have those things that's going to add to what we have to reteach. We can't go back to middle school. We can't go back to the other schools. So we have to figure out, what do we do from here? And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. What are we going to do? Here, we're looking at what we look like as a school. This is what we look like as a school. This is actually 16, 17, but to be perfectly, well, that's 17, 18. This is the benchmarks that Ms. Pierce did. So this is what we look like. This is what we look like, and this is not, even when we grow, we're not growing where the state said we need to grow. We get excited and we net growth, but we're not meeting the growth that's recommended for our district. So we want to get close to what's recommended. We want to come out of stepping in something and always having that smell. We don't want people to look at us and say to us, what's the problem? The problem is we need to do what we're doing right now. Sit down and figure out some things. Put our heads together so not only we can help the teachers in the classroom, but we can help the students. Yes, ma'am.
So is this students proficient based on benchmarks?
Yes, from last year, the first benchmark. So that was, and like I said, we're looking at math and reading. And this is actually math 3. This is what that looked like last year, the benchmark, the first benchmark. And you'll see as I go through this, and we don't have to stay on it, but we have to talk about it. When you look at it, Where they're scoring at the most is in the F department. That's where the big scores are, in the F department. And F is not for fantastic.
So,
Yes,
to figure
ma'am.
out what we need, the next question is it provide what we need?
That's a good question.
We cannot just blame and blame and blame it. We don't give the least budget, so how can we buy computer for the math department?
Exactly.
When most of our kids are all of our kids are millennials. They learn more when they are used to technology.
Technology. That's right. Exactly. This is where we are, or where we were last year with the benchmark, the first benchmark for English 3. And as someone said, and this is exactly what I've been trying to steal, English and math covers everything. Everything we do in life, you're going to have some English and math in there. We can handle the rest of the classes that are scoring low in if we get them to pull up the English and math. If they're in social studies, if they can read and they can comprehend, connected to English, then we can help them with social studies and history. So this is where we need to focus: math and English. I look at the power lunch, and some of the things that you guys are doing is going to work great. But the thing is, the schedule looks good, the ideas, the research, the resources, all that look good, but the implementation is what we need to focus on. We need to make sure that what we say we're going to do is get done in that classroom, because my students, they're talking about going to the gym. That's what they look at the power lunch for, to see when there's free gym time. So we're trying to get them excited about staying in the classroom, pulling up those scores, getting ready for college, pulling up that GPA as well. I talk to my seniors about that GPA. They're telling me what college they want to go to, and I'm saying they're not going to take you in with that GPA. So we need to look at that as well. All right, here's some also some data that I pulled from the report card, not the report cards. You can go online and find out stuff anyway. I want people to be able to go online and find out stuff and say, wow, that's awesome. But looking at Weldon City Schools, and there is an actual documentation what says that we are reoccurring low-scoring schools. That's what it says online, reoccurring. And I want to get out of that cycle of reoccurring. I want us to come out and do some things that we're implementing. We want to do those things and make them work. So where Weldon STEM is right now, looking at these scores, you see the levels. When they're taking their EOC, this is English. And that's basically, they had everything up there, but what I'm looking at is math and English, talking to his peers about reading. It is important that we push our students to read. That's an important thing. What is going to happen when you're doing math and you have reading problems but you can't read? That reading piece is very important. So this is where we are. We just want to know where to go from here. That's our next step. Talking about 2016-17 student performance proficiency, and this subject, I put biology in there because it's important as well. And this is where our students are. They're all, it's just, like I said, it's just a cycle of getting the same types of scores. We really want to come out of that. And here's this is one of my favorite graphs, because we have everything we need to make sure they're not where they are. We have the teachers, we have fully licensed, qualified, we have everything. So I'm trying to figure out, why are we looking at scores that we're looking at, and why do we have we have the teachers. We have that. And according to this, they have the ability to teach. So my question to you, where's the gap? We're talking about a gap in English and math, but where's the gap between, what is that gap between students and teachers?
Well, in this part, the teachers have no grade. After 1 year, look how you're going to leave.
So
what do you say in this piece?
So there's your gap.
That's your gap.
that's the gap, because we are not, nobody support them, so just go bye-bye.
You have, there's a such thing as one of the career teachers. So we got people just leaving. Back in the day, they stayed with us. They were connected with the students. It's like two or 3 years, and we're done. So now we got new teachers coming in, starting all over, and guess what? We want to go right back to that first graph and look at how it's going, because every time a teacher leaves, it goes up. It's because people are not staying. And our students need to, if you're building relationships, think about that too. You're talking about building relationships with students, and then you leave. They have to start over with a new teacher. So I think that does affect their academic ability. a new teacher.
That
So,
social emotional learning.
exactly. That interrupts some things. So this last slide is really what I had actually had some documentation that I wanted to give you guys. I wanted you kind of to brainstorm the big ideas. You did that already, so I do appreciate that. But this, I wanted you to brainstorm some big ideas about what can we do. We're looking at this, and I know work keys, where is it? Work keys, it had no one scoring, I think it was his first semester, but the other data is right. Is that correct, Ms. Wiggins? Where you have your 42%, 33%, is that what yours had up there?
We have the correct data for the previous years, yes.
Okay, okay. But 2018, 17, 18, that's incorrect.
Right.
Okay, so this is what we want to look at, and I tell my students all the time, yes, we want to get the math and reading, that's very important, but if anybody know anything about work keys, it's math and reading. It is math and reading. If we can connect that, if we can get them together and understand that this is talking about careers, college, the rest of your life, working, that's why that work keys is important. I push that in my class. I talk to my seniors. I say, you guys need, what is work keys? So now we're talking about connecting across the curriculum. In every class, we need to be talking about work keys. In every class, we need to know how to get them prepared. Ms. Wiggins actually has tutorials. She has things that she can give to us in the classroom that we can get them prepared for that. So that's the big idea for me, preparing them, making sure they understand the expectations, making sure that they can get those goals and those syllables, because the bronze does not count. The act, that would be with you guys, right? Definitely we need to look at it. When you see red, red means hot. It's not right. It's something that we need to work on. Green means go. Red, we need to stop and think about some things. So we're in the red. 2008, 17, 18, we're in the red. This is the opportunity this year, 18, 19, to get in the green. So that's what it's going to take for us, POC, 15, get together, make sure that we are strategizing, figuring out what it is that we can do to make a difference. The graduation rate is now 65%. And I didn't know that until I did the research online. It's out there. It tells us what Weldon has. We are falling. We are falling. This is not something that we want to look at and not something that we want to accept, but it is right there. I mean, black and white and some other colors too, but it's there. EVOS data. I'm just learning how important it is. You know, they predict things about us, and we think, well, look, predictions, they don't have to be fulfilled, but they're being fulfilled. They don't have to be. What they say that we are predicted to get, we don't have to get that. But they're usually right. I want to be wrong. I really do. I want to be wrong. I see a negative there. That's, to me, this is where I graduated from. This is my school. To me, that's sad. This is something I don't want to see in my own school. So those are things that we want to talk about. Ms. McGahey, I know you got some things that you can say to us. Come on, break it down to us so we'll understand it even more. You are that person that set this information.
All right, the only thing I would add to that is, if you remember that video we watched at the beginning of the school year, it said, now, so what, now what are we going to do next? All right, so testing for last year is over. You've got different students in your class. But we've already addressed one of the key components, I think, to improve, and that is you've got to establish policies and procedures, and then you have to follow those with fidelity. From August, the first day you come to school, until the last day in May, whatever that is. And let's be honest, we haven't been doing that. Because usually we come out of the gate strong, and we're adhering to whatever the policy, so whether it's an instructional strategy or a classroom management procedure, we all look pretty good coming out of the gate. But if you walk the halls and check classrooms and stuff in October and November, we stray from that. And that's, I think, is what's playing into some of these numbers. Now, when it comes to data, looking at the numbers is one thing, but I think more importantly within your particular PLCs, you've got to figure out within that grouping of students, look at your subgroups. Which objectives are the students struggling with? Is it an agenda issue? Is it an instructional issue? Is it lecture versus them actually getting up and doing something? Those are questions you have to ask within your own department. Because we can't get here and do a cookie cutter, this is what's going to work. Because what works in Ms. Rose's class is not going to work in Mr. Lumber's class, and vice versa. So those are discussions you have to have in terms of looking at your data. Do a data dive and figure out what objectives are the kids not getting. Then within the established policies and procedures, you already have power. how are you taking that information and then applying it? Are you differentiating your instruction doing power for a particular group of students? Or do you just randomly select students, stick them into a remediation session, and you deliver the instruction the same way you did when you had them for 80 minutes? Because if you are, it's not going to work. And I'm not saying that we're doing, but I think within the school that is starting to happen, and it happens 3 and 4 months down the road. And they test when? In December. So if you come out the gate strong in August and September, but you deviate and don't follow with fidelity what we're supposed to be doing, come November and December, you lose. So we have different groups of students. I think we need to establish procedures and adhere to those and hold each other accountable. That's the only thing I would add to what you've already identified. You know, the numbers are there as a guide. I don't think it's supposed to be, you know, the absolute answer. So we're not in F school. But if we don't hold each other accountable, if we don't submit lesson plans that can include the things we talked about, if we don't meet within our PLCs and talk about data, and we are all, you know, we become off topic and we're talking about other things other than data, then that's when we start to lose it. So let's just hold each other accountable, use the numbers as a guide, have those difficult conversations within your PLCs, and then hold your students accountable. They can do the work. And that's the only thing, other thing I would add to all of this. Don't lower your standard because of what the scores are. If you do that, then you're hurting them in the long run. Hold them accountable. They will rise up to meet your expectations if you set it here. But if you drop your expectations, that's where their performance is going to be. That's all I've added.
Basically, everything has been covered with what needs to be said. But with what I would want this team to do is to help me help our other teachers understand. When I say our school goal of 40% proficiency, a lot of you say, oh, that is so low. I do agree, but look at where we are. I'm setting a realistic goal for us to reach. Now, if we get over 40%, yes, I'm going to learn how to do a backflip. You know, but if you can help me help the teachers realize when I say 40%, I'm not setting a low standard. I'm just being realistic for where the state says we are now. And to get from where we are now to that 40%, we're going to have to make some big jumps. So that's why I want to say realistic. Do I want to say 75, 80%? Of course I do. Because I've heard teachers say, but Mr. Green, in my class, I told them 75%, and I said, don't lower your standards. This is just a realistic goal based on what the state says where we are now. But if you have set standards in your class for, I told my children 60, 70, 80%, don't lower your standards. This is just a school goal. But I want more than 40%. But it's going to take a big jump to get there from where we are. So I need you all, if you will help me, help the teachers understand that in your departments, that I'm not setting a low standard because I'm saying we can't do it. No, we can do it. And Colonel says something that I've been saying all along. That's how the state may look at us as, well, you all are performing on this level, but we know we're better than that. And when you use the same formula, when you compare schools that have 1,800 kids in it to a school that barely has 200, this is what you're going to get. So every time you make something different, if you make a lemon cake, your ingredients are different from when you make a chocolate cake. You know, so we understand. But hey, this is what you see right here. Okay, maybe last year, nothing we can do about it when we dropped that jug of milk on the floor and we just got in the house and everything in burst. Nothing we can do about it. We can't put it back in the jug. We use it, we clean it up, and we go get us a new jug. So now we see where we are. We just have to clean it up and get us some new data so we can show them where we really are. Growth-wise, we have been meeting, but we can do better. If we can meet, to me, you're moving when we exceed. So all of us, and I like what I heard here today, we have to hold each other accountable. If your department is not pulling their weight, hey, this is what we need to do. This is the expectation. Come on, you got to do this. You got to do this. It doesn't matter. You know, well, they just look so mad all the time. It doesn't matter. You'll get glad one day, but right now, this is what you have to do in order for this to become better and really give us a better representation of who we really are. Because we got the team to do it. Honestly. And if I didn't feel that, I wouldn't say it. We have the team to correct this. But it's going to take all of us. Because like I said, if your class make 100%, they're not going to look at, oh, well, Miss Sosa made 100%. They're going to say the school still failed. So we got to push each other. It can be done. It will be done. When we come here, we got to come with our mind. We got a job to do. Let's do it. I'm going to support you like I always do. That you would never have to worry with me not supporting you. I don't support foolishness, but I support everything that you all said here today because I know you want this better too. But even though the state says your kids are performing at an F level, we know our children are not, but we got to prove it. Talk to your children. Talk to your children. I went in an EOC class the other day, and I told them, I said, guess what the state has said about you all? And everything just shut down. Those kids listened. But I told them, everybody here, we're doing what we need to do, but you got to pick the spoon up and feed yourself. If I fry the chicken and you got your hands, I expect you to feed yourself. It can be done. It can be done. This is not us. I don't care what the state says. This is not us. But it is what it is, fam. Okay? We're going to put it behind us, but we're going to still have it here so we'll know I got to do better than this. So let's push each other. I know we can do it. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. So I appreciate everything this team is doing. Again, I don't plan on hiding anything from this team because you are the team that's going to help make it happen. So it's important that you go back to your departments and really push how important this is, that everybody is consistent doing the same thing across the board when we want to improve our data. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, this is just a takeaway. I'm going to give you this, and I just want you guys to get together, you team up, take it home, bring it, and I really, really want it back. So put it in my mailbox or bring it to me. All this is actually this data, but in the note area on this, I just want you to put some ideas up there. Put some things, you don't have to put your name up there, but just put some things that you feel like would help, some things that you have implemented in the classroom, or some things that you think would help in somebody else's classroom. One thing Mr. Green continues to stress to me is we are the resource. We are each other's resource. If we'll just pull together, I know that we can turn some things around, but we have to go into out of somebody else's class sometimes and say, what is it that you're doing? And that's a lot of times not what we're doing. We are workers together, and if we work together, I know that we can change some things. So I'm just share this with you, and please return it to me, put it in my mailbox, like I said, with some ideas on it, some things that you think will help. And I think you're doing some great things already.